The death of the Padre Alois, once again reminds us of the volatile North Rift. In Kenya, you'll find a lot of noise. Once the Padre has been buried, we move on, we forget it. The place where he was killed, the place where he was shot and killed, is 41 kilometers from the place where the CDF General Ogola died of a chopper crash. General Ogola was inspecting the schools that were built by KDF for the residents of the area to be educated and look beyond cattle rearing or cattle rustling. I've been a resident of the area. Between 1985 and 87, I was in charge of Sigor in West Pokot. In the early 90s, I was the deputy in charge of Marakwet County. Today, Sigor, I think, is known as Pokot Central Sub-County. So in 1985 to 87, I was in charge of Pokot Central Sub-County. And early 90s, I was the deputy in charge of the whole of Elgeyo Marakwet as far as intelligence is concerned. This is a vicious circle. The gang leader of today, the gang leaders of today were not born in early 90s. They were not yet born when I was last there. Yeah. In 80s, starting from 83, we were fighting Lotodo and General Maua. These are long dead, and if nothing is done, the kids today, the kids who are in primary today, or the kids the same age of primary going to kids, will be gang leaders 25 years from today. When Ongondo Were was killed, it took days to find the killers. When Kiumburi kidnapped himself, the police found out the truth in a matter of days. But in a matter of weeks and even months, we may still not know who killed the Padre. Does that mean that the lives of politicians matter more? George Orwell must be laughing at us. But I'll have to tell you that the killers are known. The killers are known, and they are known by both parties or several parties. If you go to Pokots, they know who killed the Padre. If you go to Marakwet, they know who killed the Padre. But you see, Marakwet cannot pinpoint the Pokot killers. And the Pokot killers cannot pinpoint Marakwet killers. Because if we disclose about your killers, then you'll also disclose about our past killers, and so on and so forth. I also, when I was working there, I understood that such killers are treated as heroes. So, apart from the risk, if you disclose, if you say Loimale is the one who killed the Padre, I just picked a Pokot name. It's not that it is Loimale, but I'm just saying, I've just taken the way you could take up a Kikuyu name, Kamau Karanja or something. If it is Loimale, who killed that person? His people treat him, as I've said, people treat him as a hero. The other people from the other side, if they disclose him, it will even bring more attention. So, even without the gadgets that the DCI used to track the two mheshimiwas above. In the 80s, when we did not even have landlines in Tot area, still the killers would be known within days. There is a traditional way that they used to do after killing somebody. You take viewers' discretion. They shoot you. They do three things. They shoot you. They eat your liver as it is, and three, they draw lines on tribal lines on their chest. So what we used to do is that for us to identify a person who, if he's a serial killer, you just remove his shirt, and the more those linings are there, the more he has killed. Why did they do this? Tradition is a tradition. Many lawyers will tell you that last month something very funny happened during a funeral. Uh, there was somebody who was they had completed a funeral program, and they were taking the caskets into they were taking it into the grave, and you can see very well, if you Google, you'll find that drama. Just, I think you can Google drama falls into grave. This fellow is just playing the the drums normally, like this lawyer canisas, and then suddenly he just loses his life. He loses conscience. He falls. In fact, the pallbearers are shocked that they even leave they leave the, what do you call, they leave the casket. It falls on the fresh nini. It is something very funny. So people, as a lawyer, I'll tell you that among the lawyers, they believe that this man who has just died, they say that if you know that you move around with somebody's wife, especially if the husband is related to you, then on the day on the day the man dies, or the day the woman dies, you keep a distance. I know, I saw somewhere at home also. There was also rumors that so and so had an affair with his cousin's wife. When that woman died, me kama Bon Town, I was observing this man whom the rumors were saying that he had an affair with his sister-in-law. So when his sister-in-law died, I was watching him from. He made sure that he attended the funeral, but he stayed at the other end, very far from you from the homestead, but within the people who are. So each tradition, I've just given you a Luhya tradition, and Northern Rift, the tradition forces you to do the other two things after killing somebody. Actually, there are four steps. Step number one, you shoot the person. Step number two, you eat his liver alive. I mean, raw, not alive, but raw. That is two. Three, if that person has a gun, that gun becomes yours. And four, you mark on your chest, so that you find somebody with 1,100 and is it 111111111? Just like the military people have medals on their chest, isn't it? But you place there 111. So you find that if it is 12 ones, is that a trillion or something? 1 trillion, 100 and whatever million, 111,000. So it is just 1111111 that way. Like lining up like matchsticks in a matchbox. So you do that. You do that four things. One, you shoot somebody. Two, you eat that man's liver. Three, you take that man's firearm. And fourth, you draw a line. Oh, just lines like this, like this one in my shirt. It will show how many have I killed. 1, 2, story. Something like that, but smaller line. I hope you understand. So that is how those people are. And the killer is known. And even a great killer gets a song whenever there is anything, a cattle rustling, they sing those songs of saying how you are. So I can tell you that in the 80s, 83, even without the technology that is there today, a killer would be known within a show. That is why they were given 3 days. But if they wanted to tell the truth, they would have talked of it in 3 hours. But before I go into how the country can solve the problem once and for all, I must say that we who were there in the 80s addressed the issue. Then again, the issue by writing reports. Those who were there in the 90s did that. Each decade wrote recommendations, and all the recommendations are similar, and they are gathering dust. The government must solve this issue once and for all. Usually, what happens is even those who are there today, they'll write reports like now the Padre has died. Recently, a few months ago, is it no, a year ago, they wrote a report about Ogola and moved on. Right now, everybody in the sub-county knows who fired the fatal shot. Everybody knows. The Pokots know, the Turkanas know, the, the, the Marakwet know. But if you are waiting for the residents to identify him, when Jesus will come back before the person has been disclosed publicly. We have at least 2 clans or 2 sub-tribes or even 2 tribes in the area. Whoever has killed uh, on matters of cattle rustling is considered a tribal hero. They undertake a very scary tribal rites, that one which I told you, the 4 system. Anyone who discloses the killer is seen as the tribe's enemy, and all efforts would be taken to kill the informer. I was an intelligence officer there, even telling them just to disclose to you secretly, and it will never be known that it came from you. No, no, no. You see, there is also the psychological aspect of such things. You as an intelligence, as an NIS person, may be told and you may pass the information, and you may take all efforts to make sure that no third party knows who told you. But that informer will always be shaking and whatever, behaving in a suspicious manner. When he meets by members of the family or the clan or the tribe of that person, he shakes in such a way that they say, you must be the one who told the intelligence officers this. Many people have said repeatedly that the operation similar to the one in Mount Elgon should be undertaken, but once the dead has been buried, it is forgotten until another death. You'll hear people, if people have not said it before, you'll hear people saying, for there to be a peaceful whatever, we have to have an operation like that one which happened in Mount Elgon. They will say that, but it will, after the padre has been buried, people will forget. This will lead into a vicious circle where we will wait until another person dies, and then we do that. Of course, you see that the two, the General Gola was not a local there. Father Alois, even though he's a Kalenjin, but he was not a local there, because local Kalenjins are Marakwet, Keio, Pokot, and maybe Turkanas. So, but in between Ogola and Father Alois, a lot of people have died, and those things just happened there. 42 years ago, that is 1983, we tried to make sense to these people. And the boys born that time are parents of today's warriors. Imagine in 1983, we were talking to youths, our age mates, isn't it? Trying to tell them why it is futile to undertake such things. That was in 1983. But then, those people who were born then, the fathers of those youths, are eh, are now very old, isn't it? But I'm saying that those youths who were born in 1983, they are now 42 years old, isn't it? When we were talking to the youths of that time, the boys who were being born at that time are now elders, and their sons are the ones who are the warriors. So it is a vicious cycle. It will happen again and again. To me, there are only two ways to handle this. To me, there are only two ways to handle this. I must say that I am willing and able to assist if called upon to go and address various barazas to solve the problem once and for all. This thing we have to address it. I talk to them a lot of times, repeatedly, and I can say that to change their mind, I don't see that thing happening. I may be among those who start, I may be among those whatever, but the thing has to go on for 5 years continuously. My belief that each security circle, the officers are only interested in temporary problems during their tenure. What security officers do is that they just pray to God that they finish their tour of duty without a lot of things being happen. So, for a Mount Elgon type of security, I'm sure it would solve the problem once and for all. Let us bite the bullet. Accept my Madera man, Karatina Karatina men, Kanja and the CDF. Accept your names to be taken to the Hague, but solve this problem once and for all. The other thing is paradigm shift of people seeing that there is life away from cattle herding and cattle rustling. There is a way that has to be solved. You see, we have a problem. A very easy example is that the local government employees, uh, schools in the area, primary school, junior school, and senior school, have non-locals as teachers. Go to those areas, you'll find non-locals are the teachers there. I am made to understand now that the government temporarily stopped recruiting P1 teachers. But then later they discovered that if they do that, then they'll have the such areas would be blocked. So today, if you come from areas like where I come from, you cannot train to be a P1. But remote areas like these ones, they are accepting people from those areas to train as P1. Look at the hospitals too. I said schools, primary schools, leave alone junior school or even senior school. Primary schools, the teachers are 80% of the teachers are non-local, and you find that the 20% who are local are P1. Diploma in education, primary type, diploma in education primary level, are people who are they take people for primary school for people with the diploma level, but people from such areas are not even interested in that to even train as a P1. Now, if we have schools with such people, you go to hospitals, they are also manned by non-locals, just as all other professions except chiefs and the assistants. Why can't we start there? So that at least, that is why I'm saying that I'm offering myself to be among the people who can go there and try to talk to these people. If we just take one training school like Tambach TTC, and in one selection we just take locals, one intake, they can fill in those schools. They can fill in those schools. Having a one, it does not mean that you can make students pass in, I don't know whether they call it nowadays, CAPSEA. You being a local with a P1, you can make a local student pass more than a non-local who has a diploma in education. So why can't we have that special thing? We even had around 1987, we had a special recruitment of APs, of people from those areas, so that they go back. Instead of having home guards, we have APs from the area just trained and be, because they know the terrain. Several meetings are telling them that the several profession named above are to be given to their people should be done. I think in 5 years, we can I use the word brainwashed? We can brainwash them such that we find that the medical personnel, the nurses and clinic officers are people from around. The teachers, forget about even junior or senior school, at least the primary schools. Mm. If they start that way, these professions, you'll find that youths have been, they'll come to understand that they can earn money without cattle. Because even if we have the severest of severe droughts, still teachers will still earn their money and whatever. It is, we should just know that cattle keeping and cattle rustling is not life. This is what I said, that local youths, once they complete their courses, then they get ready jobs. They get ready jobs. Because I can tell you for sure that the non-locals, they use a trick. Non-locals, you find a non-local completing a diploma in education, he or she is taken to be a teacher in some of those schools, completes the 3 or 4 years, then starts requesting to be transferred to his or her own home county. So why can't we have that? That is why I said we can take 5 years trying to brainwash those people to understand that. And in those 5 years, you'll find that most of the schools there will be manned by locals. Well, after all, I can tell you, for somebody who has stayed for over 10 continuous years in operation area, is that these people, they even look down upon the non-locals who come to teach their students. My mother came from Madera, kwa kina Inspector General, kwa kina CDF. My father came from Lugari. You find those places, Lugari and Karatina. Teachers are very much respected. Murutani, when he's walking around, hata akiwa sokoni, the people try even to buy him things, and they even try to discuss their kids. But those who have been to Middle East Arab countries, the way you see Arabs treating our people, our youths who go to work there, it's like they are slaves or something. That is how these people treat the non-local. Every time the government constructs a school, locals bring insecurity and schools are abandoned. Take an example of Seker Primary School. Seker is, if my memory is good, Seker is between Marich Pass and Kainuk. Uh, I said take the example of Seker Primary School. It was constructed. It was constructed in 1985. It was constructed in 1985. By 1999, the insecurity made for the school to be abandoned. This school was revived by KDF in 2020, plus other schools which are constructed brand new by KDF. You remember, I've just said that General Gola died while inspecting those schools. Now, take anybody who was in Standard 1 in 1985. I think in 1992 he was doing his KCP, isn't it? He did his KCSE in 1996. And in the year 2000 he graduated, isn't it? This would mean that by today, that person would be thinking of retirement, isn't it? Now imagine 1985, as I said, we were trying to make sense into these people. Somebody who did standard, the people we were trying to, and I remember we used to go to even to those schools with the guns and guard those students who were there in 1985. If somebody continued from 1985, by now he would have graduated and he or she would be thinking of retirement. But right now, those who are in standard one, those people I'm saying that we were guarding with guns, they are illiterate, with his son as a cattle rustler, repeating there are only two ways out. We do it the Mount Elgon way of operation, and we have a constant 5 to 6 years Marshall Plan for a paradigm shift for those people. This is the only way we can solve that problem once and for all. Thank you and God bless you.